In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking owned.
You're still at. You're still bad.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
Welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight, and sitting across from me is the one, the only, you guys know who he is, Cash Krause.
Oh,
How you doing,
you know
Cash?
the name.
Oh, you know the name.
People have heard
it
the
sticks
name.
with you.
People have heard the name.
They have heard it.
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man.
Surviving this pandy, am I right?
Of course, as always. That's what we have to do.
Chugging along.
Just chugging along, just sitting down, watching film every single day to pass the time.
You got to do it. You got to do it. And I'm excited to talk about this one.
Yeah, as am I.
This is a film, an A24 film, and we're pretty big A24 fans. I know we're real artsy and
fanboys,
pretentious,
I would say,
so
yeah.
we love A24. But a film directed, 2019 drama film. It came out in 2019, but I don't think it really came out in 2019.
No.
Because I don't think it ever came out in theaters.
No. Well, it did release March 6th in theaters, but then that's like at the peak of, the shutdown.
And released where?
Well, like 3
Because
theaters.
I didn't go and say, and
No,
I
neither did I.
But yeah, directed by Kelly Reichardt. We are reviewing The First Cow today.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I guess it is a drama. Yeah, a period piece though.
Yep.
And something cool about Kelly Reichardt is she is a minimalist director, as we will talk about. Very
Yes,
minimalist.
we
But
will.
all of her films are like that. But most of her films are set in Oregon, like this one.
I like it.
We know Oregon.
We do know Oregon. They are our neighbors.
I was born there.
Nice.
I have ties.
I have ties to Oregon somehow,
Yeah.
some way.
Yeah, I mean, it's right across the border.
It is.
But,
We're big Blazer fans.
big Blazer fan.
I would say you're the much bigger fan
Absolutely.
of the two. But,
For sure. But, yeah, First Cow, we were excited to review this because this film was getting amazing traction and amazing critic reviews. People were saying this was something you had to watch.
Yes.
Which is just funny because the trailer made it look like it was something that, I mean, it looked good, but it didn't look like something you had to watch.
Mhm.
But I ended up really surprisingly enjoying this film.
As did I.
For how simple it was.
Yes.
It's something that I didn't know I needed until after I watched it. It was so laid back and chill and easy to digest that I think it's perfect for the time.
Yes.
Where everything is chaos and we're getting just so much fucking information and whatnot, and everything is so confusing that it's cool to just chill out and be able to put this film on and just kind of, not really shut your brain off, but let the film just unfold in front of your eyes.
And I bought into the film as far as the 1820s set.
Oh, yeah.
It really felt like I was there. I was immersed in 1820s Oregon.
Yeah, and it's not a film where, it starts up here and your adrenaline, your heart's pumping, and it keeps you there every time. It's just really chill and laid back. And I love that element to it.
And dare I say, it's almost like a slice of life if it were in the 1820s. That's really what I got from it. Because nothing traumatic happens. Nothing crazy happens throughout this entire film. As you said before, it is a very simplistic plot. But I thought it worked, and I really enjoyed the characters, and I love the way that they opened up the film too. I really enjoyed that with the lady walking her dog, and they come across human remains.
Yeah,
skeletons.
And I can't remember the actress. She's in a ton of stuff, but she's only in this film. She doesn't even have lines.
No, she doesn't.
I was so weird. She's in a lot of stuff. I think she has a show on FX and everything, but. Yeah, she's in a ton of stuff, but yeah.
Her name's Aliyah Shawkat. Aliyah?
Yes, yep. Oh, no,
Aliyah
Aliyah Shawkat. Yeah, she plays Woman with Dog.
Mm-hmm.
And she was in the Final Girl. She was in
Arrested
Development. That's what I was thinking.
That's like the biggest one.
Yeah, but she plays girl with dog and says 0 words. But I liked that too, because it immediately made you think. I mean, immediately made you wonder what happened to these guys. You know, she finds 2 skeletons laid down together, kind of almost in embrace. Mm-hmm. One has like a bullet in its head, so it makes you wonder what happened. And the entire time, and this is what my cynical mind. The entire time I was thinking, okay, when's the twist gonna happen? When is one of these guys gonna screw this guy, and when's he gonna like wake up in the morning? Like, when is the treachery of these guys being killed? But it never came.
It didn't.
And I'm so glad and relieved by it. That I for some reason that I didn't need that at all. It was good enough for just these guys to be just best buds.
Well, yeah,
and at a time when it seemed like no one had a best bud.
I know, no joke, man. Everyone's always after
so
everything.
So bleak, and
it's a very tough time.
Absolutely, especially in Oregon.
Yeah, but I do love it because it's like looking through the lens, you know, of you see the skeletons and you just want to know the story of how these 2 came to be, you know, with the bullet in the head and whatnot, and then to be able to just go through their story arc. And to have in such a weird way, it was such a satisfying ending for such a very monotonous kind of quote unquote boring end that they had to their lives. But somehow this story, the way that it's written, really just keeps you interested the whole time.
And the way we're explaining it makes it sound like it's the most boring film in the world.
But it really isn't.
Somehow exactly. You keep wondering, okay, when's something gonna happen? Mm-hmm. When is something gonna really catch? But it never happens.
It never does.
And by the end, you realize you don't need it. It doesn't need to be something where you're super fucking involved in it, you know? Because that's what's cool about film is it comes in so many different forms. To where some films, obviously, it makes you feel like you got to be a part of it, you know? Where you're it's a mystery or whatever. But this film, you just lay back and let it happen. But yeah, I like that too. It was a cool ending to, again, a really cool and laid back fucking really and the guys that are in it are fantastic.
They are.
The main guy, and again, it's people I've seen in other things as well. Especially with I can't remember what was the main guy who like ran the fort. He's in a ton of stuff. He was in The Mist. He was in all kinds of stuff.
Well, I recognize John Morago.
Chief Factor, played by Toby Jones, who's in a ton of stuff. You get Clint Toby Jones, you know who he is, but I first saw him in The Mist, but yeah, he's in a lot of stuff. But yeah, a lot of people, and even the other guy, the other second in command, was a guy that was in a lot of stuff. But it must be an interesting film to be. Yeah, he was in Captain America.
Oh yeah, Toby Jones. Yep,
he's in. Look at that fucking guy. Does
Jurassic World,
Hunger Games.
Yeah, he does everything.
Captain America.
Too,
he's been in 2 Captain Americas.
Yep.
Yeah, remember he's with Hydra. He's a little guy.
Right.
He's not very big. But he's in a lot of stuff. He's like a character actor. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's great in this, playing the chief factor. He's the guy who gets the cow.
And again, you know, not the brightest star, not the sharpest tool in the shed. Guy's not very smart. And I love that they brought that up in the story with the 2 characters, how where he's just kind of like, you know, some people just refuse to believe that someone's stealing from him.
Yeah.
It's like, where else would he be getting the milk to make this delicious pastry?
I know.
You know, it's just like, or not biscuits rather, but like what else would that be? Like, how do you not
only cow,
correlate the 2?
Literally the only cow.
Literally the only one.
Within hundreds of miles.
And you try it, and how do you not taste the milk within that biscuit? It just made no sense to me.
Well,
the guy's a dummy.
Well, yeah, it's these dumb fucking rich people that came over in the 1800s that came over, wiped out a fucking entire civilization, right. But like they didn't have to work for it or anything like that. No. By the time they came there, everything was built already, so they just laid back. But yeah, he couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe those oily cakes were being what? And at one point, I would think they would have tried to buy the cow. Mm-hmm. Like they had so much money at one point.
Why not just buy the cow and make a business?
But you got to think this is the only cow. This cow is worth.
It's going for more
billions at that time.
Well, because and they told this in the story as well that the mate of the cow and the calf passed away on
such
his
a
trip.
weird, beautiful, touching element too that you wouldn't even think you would care about. Was how they keep bringing up how this cow was alone and how they traveled all this way and it lost its mate and its calf.
Yeah.
So you really end up feeling, and some of the best scenes are when he's milking the cow.
When Cookie is, yes.
and he's just talking to it. It's such a sweet,
confiding.
And it's the thing that you wouldn't think about, especially when we think 1800s. We think this rough and gruff, which is mostly what it is. It's because we see a lot of the trail guys.
We do. We see a lot of the what are they called? The trappers.
Yeah, a lot of the trappers.
A lot of the trappers, and they're loud and
they're
yelling
fucking, and they're pissed off. They're pissed.
You know, just being
tension on the trail was high,
very high at all times. And they were pitching Cookie a lot of shit in the beginning, and the guy just kind of had to take it because he's a very soft-spoken man.
And they weren't eating for days or anything like that, so it was again high tension on the trail. It was the smallest thing set you off. But yeah, these guys were horrible. But they mentioned that these guys are they're making a ton of money because they're just killing beavers. Beavers never seen a man before. So they're just running up to these guys waiting to get clubbed. And
all the little beaver
so they're making a ton of money, but they talk about how they spend a shit ton of money for like the most simple things. Things that you can't get out in, like paying hundreds of dollars for a bath or something like that. So they make a shit ton of money by selling these little oily cakes. And guys are willing to spend top dollar.
Yeah, they were.
They're standing in line all day.
The one kid, and it comes into play later, obviously, but the one kid the guy cut him in line.
Who would have guessed that was gonna?
No, but that kid was furious. You could see it in his eyes.
Oh my God, I didn't think he'd be that furious where he'd go and
chase him down with a gun later on.
Well, that was that was the Wild West.
It was
when you didn't have it's not like you could just go to another store and buy a fucking oily cake. You lost it for the day, maybe for the week.
Yeah, maybe forever.
So that's a grudge you just fucking bid on too.
There's no enforcement. There's no law enforcement. You can murder people.
You just hold on to it.
Get it away with it.
Bottle it up. Yeah. But I did love that little element of that guy ended up coming into play later, just being pissed that he never got an oily cake. But he ends up shooting him, unfortunately.
Well, that's what's good. That's what's awesome about the screenplay, too, is it adds little elements like that later on that you pick up on. You know, where some of the characters were literally introduced in 2 scenes, but they have such a significant role within the film.
Yeah.
You know, like for this character, for example, we see him there when he gets cut in line, and then we see him when they don't realize that he's tailing them with the gun.
Yep.
You know, but that's all you need a character like that for. So it was great writing.
And when you see him in a window at one point, when he's just like angrily looking,
still pissed at life.
Never got my oily cakes. And the cow's right down there. So that really fucking probably salt in the wound. When like we could have been making our own oily cakes the entire time. Or just been top dollar on this guy. But yeah, I really liked I almost had to rewind when Lou first gets introduced, when he's just out in the middle of the woods naked. I thought I missed a part. I'm like, well, why the fuck is that guy out in the... And then we find out, and then it kind of like sows in your mind early that it kind of makes you want to think that this guy is a bad guy.
I thought at first, I was very literally, I didn't know. I was like, is he good? Is he bad? Is he really running from the people? Why did he kill this Russian man?
Yeah,
that was my first questions running in my head.
Exactly, and he kind of told him the story that it was just his friend, and he just killed him. Then you kind of find out that, oh my God, this guy really is just the best friend of all time. He probably did just get in an argument and was protecting his friend and ended up killing him. But yeah, the entire time, and I think that is, my hat off to the director, because I think she was doing that on purpose to play with our cynicism.
Also, cynicism. But when they started talking and he started inviting him over, did you get, because me and Mary both, we both thought, is there a relationship forming here, like more than just friends? Because did kind of. I was like, whoa, are they throwing? Is this going to happen later on in the film?
But this is how great this film is. It's so fucking simple that there's not even. And I thought the entire thing, like, okay, now it's going to be kind of like a Brokeback Mountain situation where these guys
literally what we
come
said.
2 different areas, but nope. It's just so. It's not even that, and that is why I love that film. I love this film so much, is because it. And I swear she did that on purpose.
Okay, because I'm so glad you picked up on that, because that was the same thing we were thinking. We literally brought up Brokeback Mountain as the perfect example.
It's just cool 2 dudes.
Just 2 guys, yeah.
Just, in a wild time, just finding a relationship when there's no relationship out there. Not a lot of women, for one.
Not a lot of women. And that's, again...
and not a lot of dudes that are willing just to talk to you about your dreams and shit. Yeah. You can't talk to a trapper about
because there's always an alternative motive with people, especially during this time.
Yeah.
When, they're just trying to survive. They're just trying to live. Like, you don't have time to be friends with people.
But yeah, I thought that too, and I was absolutely ready to go along that path.
So
I thought,
was I.
yeah, that would have been cool too. But again, so simple. So simple. There's not even a romantic relationship in this.
No.
And every film people will say you have to have romantic. The best relationship is between these guys and this fucking cow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
that's-
King
it's
Lou's
so
on
weird.
the top of the
It's-
tree every time looking out. And Cookie's
And then
just
he cut-
talking
yeah.
to the cow, milking him.
And then when
milking
they
her.
finally get caught, because you don't want to get fucking caught stealing some guy's milk.
Especially
Back
a rich
then,
man who's got plenty of henchmen around him.
I know there's still a law in Montana that if you get caught stealing a guy's horse, they can still hang you. Just
What?
yeah, I mean
That's crazy.
I just don't think I just think it's a law they never changed because obviously you'll get in trouble. But it's a law that was on the books for I mean horse law, horse thievery. That was straight up just kill the guy.
Yeah.
Because that's like stealing a guy's, not just stealing like
Livelihood.
his car, but stealing everything he's ever had. So when they figure out that they're stealing this guy's milk, it's fucking kill these guys, hang them up. You know it's gonna be bad news.
I got to talk about one scene that I found very funny in a super dry way. But it was when Cookie was at that bar. You know, and this is after King Lou ran away and he's swimming across.
Yes.
So they're gone. We don't think King Lou's coming back.
Well, let's talk about that part. It was
Okay.
hilarious where they're running away and he just looks around and he goes, whoop, and he just
I know,
jumps.
jumps in.
Like this guy's been in this. That again made me think like, oh my god, this is a bad guy. Like he's been in
'Cause
this
he's always on the
scenario
run.
so many times.
And he knew exactly what to do.
Yep, and he bailed. Well, one, he thought fucking Cookie was gonna come with him.
He did.
I guess Cookie can't swim. Probably not a lot of people can't swim. back then.
Probably not. Yeah, I mean, you got to self-teach, you know.
But yeah, he was just like, whoops, see ya. Because Lou was ready to just get on with his life.
He was.
Cookie was like, we've been here for weeks. We got a home together. We got money in a tree we got to get back to. He wasn't willing to go, but but Lou just gone out of there, swimming down the river. Mary gave some Native American guy just like 4 beads and took a canoe.
Yeah, he did.
The price of canoe back then.
I know. Not too expensive.
Well,
he
beads,
had to go
beads weren't
down-
easy to come
No,
by.
they weren't.
Especially if you're Native American, you don't have a fucking factory to work at. It's like,
He's like, oh, this shit's pretty cool. All I got to do
Yeah.
is take you downstream. All
Yeah.
right.
yeah,
That's fine.
but
That I got to talk about it real quick because it was a very dry sense of humor, funny, where the guy, Cookie's at the bar. He doesn't think, King Lou's ever coming back. And the guy wants to get in a fight. And he's like, hey, can you watch my baby? And then he goes and starts beating up the guy. And he's just
that's,
watching.
That's
there,
when they
sitting
first
there.
meet.
Yeah.
That's the very first time. I forgot about that. It's a really funny. But yeah, some guy. Hey, no, he just goes, "Hey, watch this."
Yeah, I watched
Doesn't
this.
explain
Yeah.
it's a baby. That part is funny though. When the guy's coming in and he's making fun of everyone and he slaps him right in the forehead. I was wondering if the guy was going to do anything, but yeah, he just gets up and just starts beating the shit out.
Yeah.
But that part is very
Oh
funny.
yeah, that is when they're introduced. That's right. Yeah, I had that backwards. It
Yeah,
is.
that's they see each other first in the woods, and then you see him across the river, and then a couple weeks pass by, and then you see him because that's when they first reintroduce.
Right.
And he goes, "Yeah, I got a shack. Remember, I'm a couple miles down.
He was
I got
doing
some
well
booze."
for
He
himself.
was
Look
doing
at
pretty
how
good.
a couple weeks can transform your
And I
life.
thought that baby was gonna come back and play because he's like, "No, leave that thing."
I know. I was like,
I'm like, "Well, now Lou, you're kind of seeing a little dark."
yeah, seriously. I mean, what if the father got knocked out
That's why I was gonna think
or stabbed and
he
killed?
was gonna end up just getting shot and be like, "Well, fucking just leave the baby." Now you got Lou and Cookie have to race. Now it is a really, and it
when
does.
no one in 1820 is taking on the responsibility for that child, so they just leave it out in the woods.
Well, you can't even feed yourself.
Right.
Let alone you're going
an
to take on
infant.
another baby. Yeah. But
Very
yeah, it
irresponsible.
definitely, getting back to like the relationship thing, it definitely plays with the idea when they're like, it's been a couple of days since they're in the shack and like Cookie's like cleaning up and Lou's out there like making dinner. It's definitely a relation. It's
well,
just
and
not
they
a
had
sexual
some of those
thing.
scenes
Yeah.
in the house too, where he's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, you can come over," and I was like, "Oh, okay." I
It's
see
definitely a
where it's
relationship, but it's just, again, I think it's our cynical mind that as soon as we see some guy be nice to another guy, we got to think, oh, he's got to be trying to fuck the
He's
guy.
trying to get laid.
Why else would he be so cool
Yeah.
to him?
People just aren't nice like this.
Yeah, exactly. Especially 1800s.
Yeah.
So it's, but I like that she did that and she fucking messed with us in that
She
way.
did.
But yeah, no relationship. Just again, 2 guys see a cow, fucking steal milk from that cow, and make a lot of money. Get out of there.
Another thing that was really funny too, when especially when the rich guy comes eventually, but everyone's asking, "How'd you guys make these biscuits? How'd you guys make these biscuits?" And all Lou says is Chinese secret.
Yeah.
And they don't ask another word.
Oh yeah.
Like how do you not, you just take that for what it is.
Yeah.
Chinese secret.
You could say that about anything.
You really
Ancient
could.
Chinese secret.
I wish that
I'd
worked
be like,
for everything.
I'd be like,
honestly.
all right, I can't argue enough. I don't know enough about it. But those scenes are important too when they come and they talk and they immediately like just talk over Lou. You know, when they come and ask Cookie, they don't ask him at all. Or you see, it's a shitty thing. You could tell because he's Chinese. He's the only Chinese guy in fucking. Yeah. I have to assume quite a long
Probably
ways.
all of Oregon at that time. Probably.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But yeah, you could definitely tell those moments too, where like you could tell. And again, that's where I was thinking, oh, Lou's gonna get mad at some point because they're thinking it's just Cookie doing all this. But no, he ends up.
Again, you would have saw some like breakup or something, like a best friend breakup, and again, nothing happened. And then not to jump to the end either, but again, I really thought Lou was bouncing
out of there. It's so nice. Bouncing. It's such a sweet ending with them just sweet, kind of.
But unfortunately, he lost his life because of that.
Oh yeah, but still sweet. Very sweet. But yeah, one more scene I gotta talk about is the scene when Cookie gets hurt. Remember, he falls down the cliff trying to hide or whatever, and then like the Hawaiian couple it's such a like a almost dream-like scene when he's like coming in and out of the consciousness, and the old guy's outside and the wind's blowing. It's such a nice scene, but he's doing like the movement and stuff. It's bizarre but bizarrely beautiful, and just.
I agree with
one of many scenes that are just like that throughout this movie. That again just make it just an enjoyable ride.
It does.
That's all I got on it.
That's all I got too. This is a relatively short podcast, and again, a great film. It's just it's one of those films that you have to watch. It's really hard to talk about in length.
Yeah, but I would definitely recommend. Again, it's a film that you don't need to be like fucking aware. There's no mystery or anything like that. No. It's just a film that again you get just laid back and you let it unfold.
Appreciate. Yeah.
Exactly. You just take it in like a painting.
Yeah. And again, it is like a slice of life film. One little thing before we go, if you don't believe our word for it, Rotten Tomatoes, which is really hard to please, they have this at a 95% based on 119 reviews.
And it is a very, very good film. And I don't know maybe if that's like swayed because of the time as well, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with it.
I mean, you can't say that's like a bad acting or a bad scene at all. Just so simple.
It is.
It's I don't know. We're just not used to it. A film being this simple. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, that is our review for First Cow. If you guys like what you've seen here and you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification as we drop videos on our YouTube channel every single day. If you're listening in audio format, you can find our podcast on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher, our social media pages, Twitter, Seen It Podcast. Cash is on Twitter. That's just Cash. Instagram, Have You Seen It? Facebook, Have You Seen It Podcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Kraus, and until next time.
Bye.